holiday.
Hello, good evening, everybody, and welcome to our Monday. That used to be a Wednesday. It's back to a Monday again. But we're finishing off our series on what Jordan Adler calls beach money and what we know of as residual income. And we've been through about 7 or 8 myths so far, and there's a couple more myths to go about what network marketing is, and probably more important, what it isn't. So let me share my screen. Just carry on. Place I need that. Okay. So we are going through the different strategies, and we've been through the previous 8. Now we're heading on to strategy number 9, which is act and adjust. Don't analyze. So in other words, don't think, do. And I know that's part of my problem is I spend too much time planning and thinking and what ifing and not doing. And if we do, we actually get further. So analyzing is a process of logic. Understand that your success will not be logical. Most great success stories defy logic. As you grow, your journey takes you into uncharted territory. As good as you may be at analyzing all the variables, you will not be able to figure out everything in advance. And it's, what if I do this and that happens? And what if I do that and this happens? And what? Forget the what ifs. Stop analyzing. Just do. What's it? It's do, review, and do again, or something along those lines. I can't remember the exact terminology. You will be throwing many curveballs, and how you handle them will determine how well you do on your journey. Your paycheck will be your measuring stick. So don't look at your goal chart. Don't look at your dream chart. Look at your bonus check, because that'll tell you if you are being successful or if you're just dreaming about being successful. Going from working at a job to living the beach money life will be a brand new experience for you. Probably quite scary if you've never worked for yourself before. Most people have, and I know I'm guilty of the same thing, have a job mentality where you go to work and at the end of 30 days, they give you a tip. And you go back to work, at the end of 30 days, they give you a tip. And that happens 12 times a year, and however many years you are tolerated to enable somebody else to make some money. When you are working for yourself, it comes a whole new experience, because if you go out and do things, you get paid. If you sit at home and not do things, you won't get paid. There's currently no evidence in life that this can happen. Do you realize that nearly everyone who has created a financially free life did it with no evidence that it was possible for them either? So who says it's going to work? Do you think, well, in fact, if you know the history of Microsoft, Bill Gates started with a prototype. In fact, Bill Gates and Steve Jobs started with a prototype. And they went out and told a story. And much to their shock, surprise, and horror, they were given an order for, it was like 100 or 300 machines. They hadn't created them yet. They had created the outline and they had created a prototype. And now suddenly they had an order and they were in business. And they had to do a mad scramble to be able to get that order fulfilled. So there was no evidence that it was going to work. Even the guy that started Facebook, he didn't know it was going to work. He got a few friends to invest, and at least one of them pulled out. He sold his shares. And look at what he lost out on. Same with Microsoft. One of the, I think there were 3 guys that were involved together, 4 guys that were involved together. And one of them said, nah, this can't work, it's too dodgy. And he pulled out. And if he had just kept his shares, if he'd never done anything, he also would be a billionaire today. But he sold his shares for some ridiculously small amount at the time, like a few $100s, and that was it. He pulled out. And if he had only just kept his faith, he would have been financially free. And we need to do the same thing. There's nothing to say that it can work. I mean, when Charlie started it, he had no clue what he was doing. He had no clue if it would work. I mean, network marketing back then was definitely a dodgy affair, than more of a dodgy affair than it is now. There was door-to-door selling. They had 3-hour presentations every night with 2 intervals, as I used to say. Can you imagine us doing that today? Will it work? Can it work? Who are you going to talk to? But look at where Charlie is today. You know what you want. Most likely, even if you think you have it all figured out, it won't happen the way you think it will. I'll refer back to our trip to Bloemfontein last year. Coming back, I knew where the toll gates were. I knew pretty much when we would get to Durban and when we would drop off people. And then they shut the road down. And it didn't plan out quite the way I had anticipated or planned. But we all got home safely. The journey to success almost never unfolds the way you expect it to. Trying to figure out and analyze it just delays your success. Act now and adjust along the way. Trust that you will learn the lessons you need to learn. The sooner you start taking action towards your dreams, the sooner you will start living your residual income life. Strategy number 10, focus on your people skills more than your technology skills. Again, a downfall of mine, technology is easy. That's my friend. Hasn't gotten me very far. Typically, the people who create the technology work for the ones who have the people skills. Get really good with people by being around people who are great with people. That's why we go to Bloemfontein. Leadership is the most valuable skill you can have for creating a beach money life. Technology is vitally important, and I'm very grateful that not everyone wants to lead people, or there would be no one left to handle the technical stuff. Imagine that. Imagine Charlie being involved with the technical stuff and not leading us. Where would we be? We couldn't run our business without the people who thrive on working on technology. Where would Charlie be without Rory sitting in the background doing all of his IT work for him? Aren't we glad that Rory has been able to set up Telegram to the extent that Charlie can sit in his kitchen in Addo, do a presentation, while Rory sits in his flat in Cape Town and handles the backroom section. Isn't technology wonderful? Look at us now. If you're looking for a large beach money income, and you have a choice between building your team or building a website, better to spend time learning to build a team and influence people in a positive way. There's other ways to do the website. You can always hire the computer experts to run your technology. Most wealthy people don't even know how to answer their own emails. And in fact, in quite a few cases, I'm pretty sure they're not even too sure how to operate their cell phone. I think we know somebody like that as well. Become a master of communications, networking, building relationships, and public speaking. Are you seeing a pattern over here? As you develop your leadership and communication skills, you will become high in demand as an expert team builder, and you will get paid big money for doing it. Do you remember our main speaker at convention last year, Sherry Eilerton? How long did she speak for? I think it was about 45 minutes to an hour. That netted her $10,000, not rand, dollars. And she does that on a weekly basis all around the world. She is a public speaker and gets paid fairly good money to do that. Could any one of us do that? If we really needed to, I'm pretty sure the answer would be yes. She didn't do anything different to what any one of us is capable of. And if you remember her story from where she came from to where she is now, what's different? Next strategy is outsource as much as possible. Rather than learning to do everything yourself, pay others to do what you can't or aren't willing to learn, like bookkeeping, for instance. Things you don't enjoy, that drain your energy and take longer to do than someone who loves the work. And for me, that is keeping records, and I hate paperwork, even at the office. I love seeing the patients. I love sorting out patients' problems. And I do the minimal bit of paperwork and I hand it over to somebody else to deal with the rest of it, because that's not what I enjoy doing. It's not fun for me. In fact, I often go to sleep behind the computer when I'm doing it. If you don't enjoy doing your books, like me, hire a bookkeeper. We learned about this last night. It doesn't cost as much as what I thought. And first of all, you're creating a job for somebody else, but you're taking a load off your own shoulders. Don't lie to yourself about what you like to do. Instead, work on building your business up to the point where you can hire someone who does enjoy the work. This is not about being lazy or pretentious. It's about freeing up your time so you can do what you love and spend time at the beach or in the game reserve or wherever with your family. The next strategy is keep your message simple and consistent. Don't reinvent the wheel. Don't go off this tangent and that tangent and this story. And you're going to end up having to memorize almost a Shakespeare book of plays if you try and complicate things. Keep it simple. There was a man who had built an organization of over 2 million distributors. And I'm not too sure what Charlie's figures are, but we can use Charlie as a real life example. And I think for the 2 million distributors, you can probably safely look at Jerry Brasfield as well. It's safe to guess that he knew a thing or two about duplication. Do you think Charlie knows about duplication? And Jerry and Louis? Every time he spoke in a different city, he would talk for about an hour. He said exactly the same thing each time he spoke. Have you noticed what Charlie says on a Thursday evening? Have you ever commented that, I've heard his story before? What's your story? While you may hear him speak more than once, your guests and your new distributors, we're hearing him for the first time. They will be both relieved and excited to hear how simple the business is. Is our business complicated? We tend to make it complicated, but it's not complicated. The basic principle is a 3-step plan. Do we know what those 3 steps are? Get a few distributors. Get a few customers. Help your distributors get started doing the same thing. Is that not difficult? And the only difference between this little summary and ours is ours adds in your personal development. Now, I will say it again, personal development has saved my life and made such a significant difference in my life. I don't even want to think about where I would have been without it. But get a few distributors. Can you talk to a few people? Can you ask them if they want to earn some extra money? If they say no, can you ask them if they want to save a bit of money? I'm pretty sure most of them will say yes. And can you teach somebody else to do the same thing? Don't complicate it about this story and that story and how to get to director and how to get to world team. And that comes later. They'll learn that. Whenever someone asked him a question with a complicated answer, he would say, I'm not really sure, but if you'll go out and get a few distributors, teach them to get a few customers, and help your distributors get started doing the same thing, the company will send you some money. Did he worry about the technical bits, about how many PV you need here and how many PV you need for that, and what level are you and what leg are you and whose team are you? Go out, get a few distributors, get a few customers, teach your distributors to get customers and distributors, and the company will send you a check. How difficult is that? Oh, and don't forget to use your own products. Don't worry about the technical answers. Stick to the basic 3-point plan. A good preacher will tell you that a good sermon consists of 3 points. Any good speech, if you listen to any professional speaker, at most, they will give you 3 points. Don't complicate it. If you have a tough time explaining things, it will slow down your growth. Don't waste hours trying to teach people all the full structure and the breakaway here and the breakaway there and how much you get here and what percentage of whatever. Don't stress about that part. If you have a tough time understanding it, it will slow down your growth. If you have a tough time explaining it or understanding it, it will slow down your growth. A simple rule of thumb is, if an 8-year-old can't explain it to someone else so that they can understand it, then you probably shouldn't do it either. And the converse to that is, if you can explain it to an 8-year-old that they can understand it, I think you're on a winning wicket there. And it really is that simple. So freedom, what is that? We are coming up to Freedom Day, which is quite perchance at this stage. On your quest to residual income, you will experience the roller coaster ups and downs that come with being an entrepreneur. We are entrepreneurs. We are coaches. You will grow as you overcome seemingly insurmountable obstacles on your climb up the success ladder. Just like going to a gym, just like training for Comrades Marathon, you've got to start with the basics. You've got to start with the simple things. Your champion bodybuilders don't start bench pressing 140 kilos. They probably start bench pressing a bar that weighs about 20 kilos. Your marathon runner doesn't go out and run a warm-up race of 98 Ks. He goes out and he runs 1 kilometer or 2 kilometers, and then he gets up to 5 kilometers, and so he grows. You will get to celebrate the euphoric highs of reaching new levels of achievement in your life. Beach money means different things to different people, but it is a metaphor for freedom. Don't we all want to be free? Oh, look, the weather's good today. I want to go down to the beach. I want to go and play golf. My kids have got something on at school, or my grandkids have got something on at school. I'd like to go there. I don't need to take leave. I just get to go there, knowing that the money is still going to come in. You can be free of the financial worries that most people experience. Oh, And this is the part that I'm really looking forward to, and this is one of my whys, is I don't want to have to go, I'd like to have that thing, but I've got to wait until month end, or I've got to wait until bonus. I've got to wait until, if you're financially free, if you want it, go get it. You don't have to wait for anything. Residual income also frees up your time to do what you want, when you want to do it. You may choose to spend more time with your family or travel the world. Imagine what it would be like to go back to college and get an advanced degree without having to worry about getting a job. And there are some people like that who do these things for the fun of it, for learning, to keep their mind sharp. Personal development. Have you thought about writing your first book, or your second book, or your third book, or even a one-page lead generation info sheet? Where would you like to go that would completely inspire you? To the beach, to the game reserve, to another part of the world? Your call. Beach money life is anything you choose. And that's something that I will always remember. When we went on our cruise, Compliments of Charlie, it had been a crazy few weeks up until that time. And we've been running around like crazy all the time, rushed through to Durban, rushed to get through the cattle grid onto the boat, and walked on. And there was this young lady, and I said, okay, so where do we go now? And she goes, you go wherever you want, and you do whatever you want. You're on holiday. And it smacked me hard between the eyes, because I didn't know how to relax and have a holiday. Now, imagine that being financially free. Let's go to the Kruger Park for a month. But I've got to, no, just get in the car and go. Book a slot, book a chalet, book whatever, and go. Because if you're financially free, you can do that. You can afford it, and you will get paid while you're there. Doesn't matter if you talk to anybody. That's the freedom. Beach money is real, and it's available to you today. Some beach money truths to consider. There's no experience necessary. You don't need any special education or experience to have beach money. Have you seen the degrees that Charlie's got? It's a perfect business. Network marketing provides a simple, low-cost, turnkey opportunity for creating beach money. If you know anybody who owns a franchise, have a chat to them to find out what it cost them for that turnkey opportunity. It probably wasn't low cost. There's little to no risk. Network marketing allows you to be in business without the typical risks associated with starting your own company. There's no risk of losing your house or your car or the clothes on your back, because, well, you're losing the cost of less than a tank of fuel. There's ongoing residual income. By focusing on an opportunity that pays you over and over for work you do just one time, you can grow a substantial income in 2 to 5 years. The average franchise might begin to be paying off their original debt in 2 to 5 years. They haven't made a profit yet. Your greatest gift, typically your greatest fears and your biggest obstacles, represent the hidden opportunities that will lead you to your beach money life. Embrace them. Sometimes your gifts won't show up for a few years. If John had have told me 14 years ago, you will be getting up in front of a hall full of people in Bloemfontein or a convention and doing a session, I would have said, please give me my money back. I'm not interested. If he had have told me I would be putting together and producing and presenting a Zoom meeting 14 years ago, I would have laughed and said, no way, not going to happen. I don't talk to people. So don't worry about your fears. I haven't been eaten alive yet. I haven't dropped dead from a heart attack yet by standing up in front of speaking to people. So overcome those fears. It allows time off. You can work for a few years, stop working, and continue getting paid long after you have stopped working, as long as your structure is right and you've laid the correct foundation. Your little investment will pay you huge dividends. As you begin to focus on the beach money truths, opportunities will show up for you that were previously unavailable in your life. We won't get into the psychological part of that, but it's very true. From your new point of view, you will recognize between dead-end activities and life-altering opportunities. And you'll be amazed at how quickly you can figure out the difference. The main difference between you and those that have achieved true financial freedom is those that have a beach money life, believed it was possible for them, and they held on to that belief for an extended period of time. There's a paradox in this. Just because you want it, focus on it, and pursue it, does not guarantee you will have it. Your interest and belief in beach money is only part of the equation. You must put as much energy into helping others achieve their beach money dreams as you put into achieving yours. And I'll add and say you should probably put more energy into helping others achieve what they need in order to achieve what you need. As you train others to believe in themselves, pursue their dreams, and take action, you will be planting seeds of hope in them. As they succeed, so will you. In fact, the more people you help achieve their dreams, the closer you'll get to yours. Congratulations on moving one step closer to your beach money life. That ends that training. How many steps closer are you to your beach money lifestyle?